My mom just gave me a surprise visit and we are heading to the Roman colony of Brixia. Stay tuned.
Feeling so small. Watch the clock.
I just spent the last couple of days at the Lago di Seo to enjoy one of the nicest weddings I've ever seen of my good friend Greg and Anna. Congrats to you too. And I'm now heading, because my mom just drove down from Germany to surprise me. Heading now to the Roman colony of Brixia, just to make a spontaneous visit there, which was not planned. So let's see what's up there. I already know that the museum is closed on Monday, so I hope we can still see some interesting things. Brixia was founded by Celtic settlers. So-called Gauls, here south of the Alps in the modern Italian province of the already in the 7th century BC. And when Hannibal crossed the Alps to attack Italy, they joined all together in a Celtic formation against the Romans. Though got conquered, then progressively colonized by the Romans. So, very interesting city here, south of the Alps, but still with many cultural connections to the north at its beginning, and then undertook this process of so-called colonization. So, that's it.
Beautiful stars, I wanna drive a faster car. Lay my troubles to rest, blow the smoke through my cigarette. City lights looking fine, and I know this is my time now. I'm gonna be myself, or I could be someone else. No one's stopping me now. I'm gonna skip my breaks, I'm gonna make mistakes. I just wanna feel alive. It's just what I do when I'm out, so try not to hold me down, feel alive.
So I'm now walking towards the square of the cathedral, the Piazza del Duomo. And funny thing here is there's not only one cathedral, which you can see just behind me. That's the so-called new cathedral, just like in the beginning of the 17th century. But what we are interested in is the old cathedral just behind me. This cathedral is built in Romantic architecture. It is round in its round shape, made out of this rather rough quarry stones, which already is a sign that the appearance of this church back in the days was not like we see it today. All those rock stones were covered with a layer of lime or something, then colored. You can imagine really colorful. And then the entrance nowadays is up here. But there's one interesting thing: this entrance was only built after the bell tower here collapsed, I believe in the 17th century. But the original entrance is just here below me. Yeah, the estimate is like 2 meters below the current ground surface. It's really interesting because that's part of archaeology. When a city grows over time, several layers building up one of each other over the time. Those layers are archaeological layers. This is part of the history of the city. Ground level rises. But what we do now is, let's go into this old church, this Roman church, which was built in the 13th century, but it had some predecessors of all the churches. Just get my mask on. There it is. Now let's step in. So there are some things I want to show you, because there are some areas where we can still see parts of the older structures. Precisely, of course, the crypt, where I bring you just later on, but here, under the modern floor here, there are to be seen several pieces of mosaics here. This mosaic is already quite interesting because it's depicting 12 lamps and it has a central inscription saying Cyrus Diak, like the Diaconus, the deacon, and his family. They embellish this place with all these mosaics, which is pretty nice because it's from around about the 6th century AD. So we are here looking at Paleo-Christian structures, late antique structures. In another window here, we see parts of this hollow tires. They were used to bring like heated air up into the rooms here. So this means that maybe he was also like some sort of a bath or something for the local bishop. Now let's go down into the crypt. You can already see here there's a reused stone here from the Roman time. And it's for sure a tombstone with an inscription. And let's go on. So we are entering the crypt. This is actually from the former building built before this Roman church already. And what we can find here are a lot of spolia, so parts, architectural parts which are already were made in the Roman time and then reused for this very early church. What we can see here are these columns here. They are all different, so they totally don't match up. They were probably standing in the Roman Forum, in temples or bar or public buildings like this. Those columns, they are typical for the Roman era. They are like composite capitals of the composite order. They are mixing the Greek origins from the Ionic order and the Corinthian order. So the Ionic order has these volutes here, and the Corinthian order has these acanthus leaves on top. And this is just mixing them up. That's typical for the Roman era in the 1st and 2nd century AD. You can also see some of these pilasters here. They're also reused, as is this column here. And also this capital. Sometimes they don't even match up, not at all actually. Also interesting is that we have here another type of capital, which is a Carolingian style, so actually much later, from the 10th century maybe. And there we're depicting a cross in the center. So already from the Christian time, but still reused here. And if I were speaking from, they are totally not matching up, not only that they are all different, these columns, but also this column here is totally destructive from the ark. So I don't know what they were thinking, but nonetheless it's super interesting how they reused the old material here in this church. But let's head to the Roman structures now. So I'm now walking on the Roman Forum of Brixia. And here to our right, there's some remaining columns of the former porticos, which were surrounding the entire open space of the Forum here. And behind those columns you can imagine like the offices of official administratives and shops of any kind. So this was the most busy place in the entire city, where politics and trade and public life was all mixed and was all happening here. And as I'm crossing the Forum here, we're coming close to the main street of the Roman city, the Decumanus Maximus. And along this main street there were located the most important buildings of the city. We're coming closer now to the Capitolum of the city, the main temple. This main temple built under the reign of the Emperor Vespasianus, as is written on the inscription there, which is saying Caesar Vespasianus Augustus is on top of it, and then is different administrative posts give us an indication of when exactly this was built. In 73 AD was built this temple. It's a typical proselyte temple, Roman-style temple, which has its columns in the front. And then three different and separated cellars, which are representing the three main gods of the Romans, Minerva, Juno, and Jupiter. As we know from excavation here, though, there were standing also older temples, the Republican period. They're really interesting because they still had four different chambers. Four gods, not only the Roman Capitolinian trias of the three mentioned gods, but also one god more. And we don't really know which one, but it's very possible that this was like either a Celtic god or Hercules, which was really worshipped by the Italian population. Interesting because it's one of the few Celtic settlements which then became a Roman big city south of the Alps. Right east to the Capitolium, this temple, is situated the Roman theatre. So let's have a look. what we can already see here, that there is one medieval palazzo from the, I think, 13th century, was the Imperial Theatre. Disturbing a bit the antique structure. Here, everything is closed, unfortunately, but I can give you guys view over the fence. And we are now positioned at the place where the antique Scenefons was situated. So a very ornamented and columned wall where the actors were playing. And we are looking now into the area where the spectators were sitting. And they were sitting in 3 different layers at the cavea. So the entire structure was semicircular. Here around the Scenefons, and spectators were sitting here watching us. All this on the Decumanus Maximus here, the main Roman street. Can you imagine how busy it was here? Yeah, so I'm pretty sad that everything's closed today. Also in the local museum, the Santa Giulia, was supposed to be the remainings of Roman villas with nice mosaic floors and wall paintings. I would have been very interested to see, but we will see many more of this kind, so that's not a problem. I think that's it for Brescia, and we are heading on. See you guys.